week 3 of the 46 Zone podcast. I am Scott, and Jay's here with me again tonight. Bears football, NFC North football is what we talk about. Obviously, this week, the Bears go to Indy and take the loss 21-16. Defensively, once again, good enough to win, but everything else was a little too late. Caleb Williams' best performance as a pro to this point, threw a lot of passes, but had a good day. Absolutely the best rookie day in Bears history, number-wise, 363, I believe it was.
Yep.
And 2 touchdowns, two interceptions. I believe the second one was more of a non-catch than an interception, and Rome should have caught the ball. The first interception, though, was Caleb Williams. He made a mistake there, threw late, got his arm hit, but he shouldn't have threw the ball, and could have been a pick six. Luckily, it wasn't. Problems down Indy. It started the whole first half. Both teams didn't move the ball very well. Both defenses. It was a shame because I think the Indianapolis Colts defense was a defense that could have been had this weekend because they were missing a couple interior linemen, and the Bears just cannot run the ball. They just, I don't know if they're not trying, just aren't doing it. When they do, they hit the inside and kind of just nothing moves. The one thing I'm calling for, I think, this week is more carries for Roschon Johnson. DeAndre Swift being more used for a third down, different pace type of back, flip the script. I'm not saying DeAndre Swift was a bad sign, but he needs holes to hit where Roschon Johnson can make holes. And DeAndre Swift, right now, they're not making holes for what they did. They went out and got all these pieces, but just ignored the offensive line, I think. And I think we're all naive. And I was one of them, too, to believe this line was good enough. I think this line is worse than last year, personally. They're not playing up to that par. Everybody's grades are getting worse. It's almost like you watch end the games and guys are just starting to do a lot of blocking with their arms. It looks like they're tired. Are they out of shape? Is their training camp too? I don't know. It's just one of those things that you have to, tip your cap to the Colts, what they did. Coaching-wise, on both sides, questionable. Colts have the ball at the 3-yard line on first down, and they end up running once and throwing twice and getting picked off the second time off a tip ball with Jonathan Taylor in your backfield. That's inexcusable, I believe, for the Colts. Bears, 4 chances from the 3-yard line and 2-yard line also. Or actually, they started at 7. They got inside the 1 on third down or 2, got to the 1, and then they decided to run some type of option, which I don't think Caleb Williams have run an option play. I don't know when the last time he ran one, but it was set up 2 tight ends to the right, and they ran option left. And if you look at the replay, half the Bears offensive line would lay on the ground. I thought there were cut blocks, but it looks like they all just whiffed on their blocks. I don't know if the play went the wrong way. That could have possibly happened. Maybe they were supposed to go right. But Fields and Swift are on the same page, obviously, because they both went the same way.
I personally think if the offensive line blocks are Caleb Williams as a whole, because
I think
those 4 guys are blocking to the
he's
with
supposed
the play.
He's supposed to have a cutback hole there.
Yes.
Last night, I watched Jaden Daniels.
Yes, correct.
He had the play, and he cut inside, got the first down.
The best part about that is you see him take a snap, he takes 2 steps, and he has 4 300-pound guys coming in. He's like, oh, shit, he's got to pitch the ball, and they go backwards on it.
So I think that was, I don't know, it looks like, I don't know who, DeAndre Swift and Caleb Williams are wrong, or the line call was wrong, or I don't know. After the game, players were, I guess there was a couple comments made that they ran that play in practice all week. It worked real well, but not against that defensive look, and the defensive look, that should have been a key to the off. Caleb Williams has to understand probably they're to call timeout, but he is the rookie. The coaching staff has to understand they're to call timeout. That looked, it's a 4th down. You want to touch. It was 0-0. It was 0-0 at this time. It was 0. So the Bears get the touchdown here. They're in the lead now. Their defense it's a little different. And once again, they just failed, and they looked better at times. But the problem is Caleb Williams pretty much. Honestly, he was the whole offense yesterday with great receiving days by Komet and Rome. Rome over 100.
Rome Odunze, 6 receptions, 112 yards, a touchdown, 11 targets. Cole Kmet, 10 receptions, 97 yards, a touchdown, and 11 targets. DJ Moore, 8 for 78 with 10 targets. A
good day, obviously, when you throw for 360. My perfect day for Caleb Williams would be about 24 for 30, 260, and 2 touchdowns. If he does it every game, I'm sure everybody's thinking, well, yeah, of course. But yeah, he can't throw 52 times. He just won't. It's just not possible. If you're throwing 50 times. If you're throwing over 40 times, sometimes it's hard to win a game. You're throwing 50 times, and the problem is it was a close game. This wasn't like they were behind. They had to catch up. They just pretty much passed too much. That was the problem. If they were down by 2 touchdowns to start the 3rd quarter or 4th quarter, I get it, but they weren't. They were always within a touchdown or points of this game until late, and they passed like they were down by 21 the whole game, and you can't do that. You can't do that with any quarterback. It doesn't mean for Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, or if you're Caleb Williams. You cannot throw the ball 50 times in a close game. You just can't. It's just you're just giving the other team too many opportunities then because the clock stops, slows down. You make incomplete passes, the clock stops, and you may get the Colts one less drive. You never know how this would have worked out. I don't know.
Which is that, I mean, they ran the ball a total of 27 times, so is that possibly the game plan going in there knowing you don't have a good offensive line? Just got to let them throw the ball? I mean,
yeah, and
that may be what they're thinking is we have to let them throw the ball because we can't run the ball. And I mean, that's been seen. Like, obviously, Roshan Johnson did have the better runs yesterday because he is a little more patient than DeAndre Swift is, but you still don't have an offensive line he averaged 3.75 yards a carry. I mean, if Roshan Johnson averaged 5 yards a carry, you got to understand to run the ball a little more, but he's not getting positive yards at all. So, I mean, you see these guys trying to go way outside with the ball because they can't get up the middle and they can't run it down their throat because they have no O-line. So, I mean, that may just be their game plan, which it's got to be adjusted.
I think they have to focus on the run more. They have to get Darnell right, and I believe Tevin Jenkins back on the same side. I believe that's the key to start that and just run heavy to the right side. I understand it's the NFL, people catch on, but if you block it correctly, you it doesn't matter. They have to be able to stop it, and you have to have some semblance of a running game. Because if you watch, any team that succeeds has the play action involved. And with the play action involved, it changes everything. Linebackers bite up. Things change. When you can't run the ball, nobody's moving. They're going to let you get a couple runs, and then they'll start reacting. But until you can run, NFL players are smarter than you think. Linebackers aren't going to react to play action if you haven't run for more than a yard, 2 yards a carry. They're going to be very disciplined if they're a good team and not come in. Now when you start running for 4, 5, 6 yards a carry, then they got to, I got to start filling gaps here. And guess what happens? Little over the top, quick cross the middle, 15-yard gainers start happening. And that's when you start moving the offense. Now, the flip side of this, the defense once again showed up, I think, this week. Their goal line stance was really, really well done, although I think that was aided by the Colts not calling correct plays. They held Jonathan Taylor pretty well to the fourth quarter, and I think that had a lot to do with – and they weren't on the field that much yesterday. The Bears, I think, doubled their plays. I think the Bears led a lot of categories yesterday. Doesn't win you games, but they led a lot of carries. And they ran almost a double amount of plays that Indy ran yesterday, which was pretty incredible to see.
I have team stats here.
Yep.
Total yards, 395 to 306 Chicago. Passing, 332 to 156 Chicago. Colts outran them, 150 to 63. Average yards per play, Colts 6 to Bears 5.
Okay.
Time of possession, 30. The Bears had 10 minutes more of time possession, 35 to 24 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and the Bears only gave up 4 penalties, which that's another thing is huge. They're not giving up very many penalties.
And the defense did have 2 blown coverage that cost them. Actually, the first blown coverage didn't cost them anything because that was the interception in the end zone. But then a blown coverage later, I think it ended up in the field goal, I believe. But I just think this team is they're in a weird position now because they're good enough in a lot of spots to be competitive and maybe be a playoff team. But the problem is right now the glaring weakness is offensive line. And anybody that understands, and everybody does understand this that watches football, if you cannot block, if you can't get pressure on the quarterback or block, you're not going to win many games in the NFL. And the pressure on the quarterback with the Bears right now is solid. It's middle of the road. I think they thought it'd be better. Yesterday was probably the lowest. But they faced a different team yesterday too. They weren't a team that Anthony Richardson had a couple of runs, but they did contain him pretty well. His accuracy is not great, and there was open guys on the field he missed. So I think the Bears defense. I'm going to give the Bears defense for grading them yesterday. I'm going to give them a B+ for yesterday's game just because a couple of big plays, and there was plays that were left on the field by the Colts. Special teams, I'm going to drop them down to a C. Missed field goal. Torrey Taylor had 2 bad punts in the game. And overall, nothing special from return games. So there is C. And the offense, I'm going to break it down. I'll give Caleb Williams and the receivers, I'm going to give them a B. They could have done a little more in spots. He threw that pick. He threw 2 picks, one on the receiver, one on himself. And then I'm going to give the offensive line, I haven't given any Fs out, but they're going to get an F, I think, just because of that play. And then the running game overall, the running game obviously goes hand-in-hand with that offense of line, and the running game gets an F also. They just are too far behind in the offense right now, and I don't know if that's just the hangover from not playing preseason, because you watch a lot of teams right now. There's you watch a couple games yesterday, Redskins scored some points, so did the Bengals, obviously. But you watch a lot of games, I mean, even the Chiefs look lethargic right now in offense, and so do the Falcons, who are kind of Kirk Cousins, who gets a lot of flack, I think is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and it's just feeling your way with a new offense. So you're looking at a rookie quarterback trying to feel his new way with a new bunch of guys, and in the NFL, he's trying to learn the game. So, but you look all over the league. I mean, the Packers with Malik Willis are running the ball with him. They're not really throwing the ball, and they had a pick 6. So they scored 23 on their own offense. That means 3 field goals and 2 touchdowns. So the offenses are really lethargic right now. The Vikings aren't doing well, and Detroit even looked kind of slow yesterday. So this isn't a time to panic. I said this last week, but being 1-2 now is a little different. They're obviously last in the division now, I believe, or yes, they are last. Yep. All the teams that we'll talk about the rest of the NFC North in a minute, but everybody won yesterday but them, and so everybody's 2-1 except for them. It's going to be one of those years, I think, that they're going to be in a lot of games, and I think they're going to lose a lot of those. I think this team, beginning of the year, I said they'd be on the cusp with 8, 9, 10 wins. I think they're going to be closer to 7, 8 right now, 9, that area. I don't think they get to 10. I think they're going to have a lot of these games like yesterday, a lot of games like Tennessee game, a lot of games like week 2 when they lost to Houston, games that they make 2 different plays either way and they win the game. It's going to be a lot, but that's what happens. You build on that for the next year, and hopefully they'll fix the line and get better, and we'll see. But right now I think 7, 8 wins is going to be what we're looking at, and just outside the playoffs. So, but yeah, that's how it is, and it is. It's just how it is. Besides that, yesterday, anything else you noticed in the game that was different, surprised you? Any negatives?
The refs.
Yeah, the refs.
On all the forward progress, the one that Anthony Richardson is still physically moving upfield as he was being wrapped up.
And that was a Bears ball.
And he threw the ball right to the guy, and I believe the Colts were at their 35 or 40.
I think they were going to be at the Bears at 20. We're going to be at 20, 25.
So even better.
They're field goal range, and they're going to be. And the Bears moved the ball yesterday all day.
Yes.
They didn't have trouble moving the ball. They moved the ball better than
they converted third downs really well,
and
too.
Fourth downs. They had a couple fourth downs.
I think they were 2 for 3 on fourth downs, so that's big to see. But, I mean, the biggest thing were those. Then you're giving the Colts a touchdown where Zach Moss completely stopped. And then you got guys coming in the back, and he gets pushed in. It's like, you got to stop it there.
Yeah.
I've seen comparisons with stop clocks.
Yeah.
Zach Moss was stopped for like 3 seconds. Anthony Richardson was actually still moving around. We only had one guy around his ankle. So
yeah, and it's weird because you didn't really hear a whistle until the ball was out. So it was a strange situation that cost the Bears possibly 3 points, if not more. I thought they'll run in the kicker play. I think I was at the game yesterday in Indy, and the fans there, it was 50-50, I'd say. There was a lot of Bear fans. I mean,
it was loud. It was loud watching it on TV.
It was louder, I thought, when the Colts were on offense than when the Bears were on offense, like fans cheering to get them offsides and stuff, or false starts. I think it was louder, but it didn't help them, obviously. But with that said, yeah, I agree. The refs had a tough day yesterday. Some real odd calls. The Bears got not really calls. Bears got more calls that helped them, I thought, in the long run, but they were the right calls. There was that interference call that was correct. Mm-hmm. There was the running the kicker was correct. We couldn't tell there if the guy did touch it on to give him the, because if he would have touched it, then you could run the kicker like he blocked it.
Oh, they showed that replay on TV for like 5 minutes. You're never going to see if he tipped that.
You couldn't see.
They slowed it down as slow as they could. He was wearing white gloves. Just the way the ball went there. And first off, I'll say this. I kicked in high school. Mine is obviously way different. But if you're putting a finger on the ball, there's no way he's punting the ball 70 yards still. Yeah, that ball would have slowed up a little bit, but he kicked it 70 yards still. No way he tipped that ball.
Was that ball 70?
Yeah, he kicked it to like the 40 out of the end zone. So 60?
Yeah, but it counts from the 10-yard line though he was on. So it'd only be a 50-yard punt.
No,
but still he went pretty far. Yeah.
I mean, he killed the football. I mean, he put to flip field position like that's huge from a punter, and there's no way he tipped that. So the coaches running down the field saying he tipped it, that's whatever. But no. I mean, I actually was kind of worried he messed his ankle up. Did they show the replay in the stadium or no?
No. He got twisted up a little bit.
He like came down where like his ankle got I was like worried because it was plant one, but he was fine. But
and just people not understanding the rules, like blah blah. Yeah, it was his plant leg. You can't hit his plant leg like that. And then he got pushed into him.
He did.
No, he got leg whipped him basically. That's what he did. So, but whatever, didn't help him anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's pretty much yesterday's game in a nutshell. There's so many different levels to it. I mean, there's really nobody. I mean, Jalen Johnson had a nice game again. Overall, I thought, like I said, defense played pretty well. I thought each level played good. I think the line, I'd say they were okay yesterday because they let Jonathan Taylor get his yards at the end. And people say, well, it's Jonathan Taylor. Well, that's not the point. You're a good defense. Nobody gets yards on you. That's how it's supposed to be. It doesn't matter if you're the second coming of Barry Sanders or you're Jonathan Taylor. You should hold them. Your goal every game is to hold everybody under 70 yards, 80 yards at the most. That should be your goal. 80 yards, 70 yards, that should be your goal. And they were holding him pretty well until that last quarter, and they let him get some runs in, and he had that longer run for the touchdown early in the game, which kind of was a backbreaker because he gave him a touchdown. And if they, can maybe hold him, make Anthony Richardson. That's the problem. You got to make Anthony Richardson beat you, make him throw the ball, and it's like at times the Bears defense. So it's just becoming this team with they're good and they're good enough. It looks like at times, but just kind of stuck in the same place they've been for not recently because they haven't been great, but the good teams they've had in the past, it's just this team, they're decent, and then they do this. So,
Caleb Williams, first quarterback in NFL history, 350-plus passing yards and 2 touchdowns to lose a game.
Oh.
That's the first quarterback in NFL history to do that. That's surprising.
Is that really true?
That's NFL posted that, actually. Mm-hmm. Yep. And obviously him and Rome connecting for their first career touchdowns, pretty cool, too.
Yeah, yep. Rome, and then Williams got 2 touchdowns, two touchdowns, so he's on the board. 2 picks, though. That's the thing that sucks. He's got, I think, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks for the year now.
Yeah, 5 or 6. Yep.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. So, because he had 2 in both in the Houston game and this game.
He had 2 on Sunday.
And then I think he had 1 or none. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're 1 and 2. It doesn't matter how many.
Is what it is. Peyton Manning threw 30, right? Or
28 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
his rookie year, and look at him now. So.
Yeah. So. And Aaron Rodgers' first year was not very good either. So it's first year. So we'll see how it goes.
Rookie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Bears fans just when every time people get a chance now, they want to bad talk Caleb Williams. That means he's good. I'm telling you right now, a lot of people still think he's going to be good, and I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I don't know about great or whatever, but good. And you can be good in the NFL.
Better than Bryce Young?
You can win a lot of football games. So I think good is a good place to start, and we'll talk about next week's matchup in a minute, but let's talk about the rest of the division. Packers go to Tennessee.
Do you put any of the coaching staff on the hot seat?
Yeah, I think this coaching staff, if they don't make the playoffs, they all get fired.
You think even like the whole staff goes?
I do too. I think Eberflus gets fired, so I mean staff goes. I think the Bears messed up in the situation because, and I may have said this last week or maybe on the Benchwarmer podcast, I think where they messed up is not by hiring a offensive head coach.
Yes,
because
their defense is always good.
If the Bears were to, let's just say, I don't believe, I'm naive to believe this. Let's say the Bears won the rest of their games, lost the NFC Championship, or went to whatever. Let's say they just did that, and the offense averages from here on out 28 points a game. Caleb Williams looks like it becomes the MVP. Well, you think that Shane Rogers is not going to get off their job somewhere next year?
Gone. You said that, yep.
And he's gone. So you're not helping Caleb Williams because if he succeeds, he's going to change coordinators again. You need to go get a guy that's going to be your head coach, a la Bob Slowick type guy from Houston.
Where he's their game planner and everything.
He's the head coach.
Yes, correct.
And he's an offensive mind. Even if he has a coordinator that works with him, but the head coach is an offensive guy. Look at all the teams successful in the NFL right now. Matt LaFleur doing a great job in Green Bay. He's an offensive guy. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. You keep naming. And now you got Washington. You got a defensive guy, but he had Cliff Kingsbury on his side. Now, another guy. If Jane Daniel succeeds this year and does well, which he's been doing pretty well. I mean, people took last night's game and make him in the Hall of Famer already. He's one game for him, too. He hasn't looked great. That's his first touchdown pass last night, too. So this is the thing. But Cliff Kingsbury now, once they do great, and they end up making the playoffs, and Cliff Kingsbury gets a job. Now poor Jane Daniels has a new coordinator next year.
Would you take him or like Ben Johnson?
I wouldn't take. Ben Johnson wouldn't mind, but I would like Bob Slowick, and I think
that's
the Houston's.
Yeah, Houston's. Yep.
And I think the Bear. But the thing is that it's an early season. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe Shane Waldron picks it up. They do well, and you know what? I guess the best thing is if Shane Waldron gets hired next year by somebody as head coach, that means it was good for the Bears.
Well, so then
and then they just figure it out. Good teams can look at it this way. Bill Belichick did it for years as a defensive guy.
Yeah.
And I know he had Tom Brady, but offensive coordinator. Well, then again, his offensive coordinator stuck around for a long time.
Who was his?
Josh McDaniels. He never took jobs. Yeah. He stayed there and they just overpaid him. Where
they basically were giving
would the Bears overpay an offensive coordinator? Probably not. They're just not. They don't do that.
Well, so that's a big thing you look at. It's like, say they do good. Could you see them trying to keep Shane Waldron and slide Eberflus out?
No. Eberflus would not get fired if they do good. No, they won't fire the head coach if he's good because that's not fair to him.
Yeah.
And his defense is playing well. So he's only allowing like 18 points a game at this point. And over the last 8 games, actually, and the Colts announcer said this, over the last 8 games, the Bears only allowed like 16 points or 15 points a game since last year. So they gave up 21 yesterday, so now they're up to like 16 and a half points in the last 9 games. Yeah. So if in the NFL, that's incredible. If the goal is to score 24 points in an NFL game and see what happens. That's what the offensive goal should be. Let's score 24. Let's see what defense takes us. Yeah. And I don't know where it's going from there, but I guess we'll see. So the Packers win in Tennessee. Like I said, LaFleur doing a good job down there. Malik Willis gets a little revenge on the Titans. 30-14. Jai Alexander he scores a touchdown, and he just got done doing his touchdown dance just now. And he's a captain next week, I heard too. But yeah,
he told me himself he was.
Packers doing it also is just like Indianapolis. A lot of Packer fans in Tennessee. But the Packers go to 2-1 with no Love, and Love may be back this week. We'll see.
I will say this: Malik Willis 6 carries for 73 yards. Yeah, he was the leading rusher.
That's a big deal. I mean, to get the carries, that's huge. If you don't get those carries, they don't win the game probably because they're going to get stuck. So a great game by him. The Texans go to Minnesota. In Minnesota, the 3-0 Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold 4 touchdowns, leaves the game for a play, but comes back and scores 2 more touchdowns. So 34-7, and right now their defense is probably the best in the division. This division's got 4 good defenses right now, and I would put the Packers as the worst out of all of them, and they're a very good defense. And when I say worst, I don't mean that. Detroit's really good. You got the Vikings right now, and you got the Bears, and you got the Packers. This has got a good defensive division.
I really think, this division could very well be the best division of football for the next few years. Like, very, very good.
I mean, you look at how the teams are set up, and you look at the quarterbacks of the teams.
You sort of look at it like, how there were those, minus the Browns, but you got the AFC North for those few years where it was always Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers, where 2 of them were making the playoffs, and one of those teams was going to have 15 wins with... They all had great defenses.
Yeah.
But one of them was going to have 15 wins, and the other 2 were always going to be cutthroat, battling out for that final playoff spot.
Yeah.
So I really think that's how this division could shape up over the next few years.
Yeah. And so Sam Darnold having a great game. And the Lions, a game that kind of a gutsy game in Arizona. They go on the road and beat the Cardinals 20-13. Like I said, offensively, none of these teams were great offensively. The Packers were probably the best offensively, but still, or actually the Vikings were. The Packers were pretty solid with the pick 6 in there, and then you got the Bears and the Lions who kind of struggled on offense. But the difference is the Lions get the win, and they are 2-1. So this division is shaping up to be that. And that's the thing for the Bears right now. They can't get behind because you can't. It's going to be hard. You're going to have 1 or 2 of these teams that are going to be up there at the end. It's going to be hard to jump to. You can't lose that much pace on these teams. So this next game is going to be important for them. And this week we have. Let's talk about a couple of other games. NFC Central, you got the Seahawks visiting the Lions, the 3-0 Seahawks, that's at Detroit. 3.5-point favorites. The Lions have been started. I'm gonna take the Lions in this game. I think at home with the fans, it's a Monday Night Football game.
Big atmosphere in Detroit. Yeah, very good. They've been
pretty
city.
Good for they've had a couple primetime games now late in the last couple of years, and it's a playoff atmosphere every time they get a primetime game. I think the Seahawks are playing maybe a little above their head. I mean, they're a good team. But we'll see. The Seahawks, they're 3-0, so I'd love to have a team 3-0 right now. So I'm going to take the Lions. Who do you like in that game?
I'm going to go Lions too. Big. I think the crowd really helps them win that game.
The next game, Vikings getting 2.5 at Green Bay. If Malik Willis starts that game, I love the Vikings because I think Brian Flores is going to make Malik Willis's day. It's not going to be.
I think it's going to be the
Tennessee.
hardest. It's going to be the hardest defense he sees.
Yeah, it's going to be the toughest test to this point for Malik Willis. Now, if Jordan Love starts. I'm still going to lean Vikings here, but the Packers. It'd be tough not to take the Packers at -2.5. But right now, we're doing the show right now. Malik Willis, we don't know anything. I think if Malik Willis is the starter, I'm taking the Vikings in 2.5. In a low-scoring game, I'll say too. A low-scoring game. It'll be in the teens to win the game. I think nothing higher than 20, maybe 17-13 or something like that. And now the Bears. That's what we're talking about. We're here, the 46 Zone Podcast, and the Bears have the Rams coming to town. And last week before this game, it's the way the schedule lined up for them, I thought they easily could be at least 2-2, 3-1 at this point after this game. But after watching the Rams yesterday come back against the 49ers, this is going to be another one of those games that you're going to look back at. I hopefully not go, man, if they made one more play, they would have won that game too. Because the Rams are, number one, they have, I believe he's a Hall of Fame quarterback for them, or a fringe Hall of Fame, or whatever we're going to call him. Yesterday, what he did with the receiving core he has, and Kyrie Williams ran well. They have no receivers. They have a bunch of all the guys are hurt.
Cooper Kupp, they did announce, will be out again this week.
And Puka Nacua is out for sure.
Well, he's on IR. Yep.
So these guys are both out. So the Bears have to. You know what? The thing about Stafford that helps the Bears. He's not mobile,
and he's a little banged up.
And their line is banged up. So if they can get pressure and play, and they did. Bears played good coverage yesterday too. There was a few times Anthony Richardson could not find nobody. They did against Stroud too. So the coverages have been good. It's just about the offense has to get out in front so the defense can do their job. If it stays close, then the other team doesn't have to change their formula. They can keep running. They can keep you off balance. Once you get up by some points, they have to start throwing and plays in the strength of not just the Bears, but almost every defense in the NFL play. That's what they're built like now. They are built to play with the lead and rush the passer. So they need to get a lead. And this is a tough game for me. But I'm just going to take the Bears at home -2.5, just because this is kind of a must win for them. It's early in the season, but it's a must win. And they all have to perform better. I mean, everybody has to keep with the arrow pointing up, and I think this is a game they can do that. So it's a nice day in Chicago in the 70s and cloudy, so not going to be too hot, not going to be rainy. So it's going to be a nice.
It's going to be perfect condition for a football game.
So a good game, good day. So I'm going to go with the Bears in that game. So who do you like in the Packers game and the Bears game, Chase?
I mean, I'm going to go Vikings regardless of who starts, but the only way I think the Packers really have a chance to win that game is if they run the ball good. If they can run the ball good with Jacobs, I think they can easily win the game, because then if you have Jordan Love starting, it really makes it a win for them because you have a guy who can run the ball well. You got a little more of an experienced quarterback who will be able to read a little more of those defenses and pass the ball a little better, in my opinion. But if they don't run the ball, I think the Vikings are going to take it pretty swiftly, but I'm going to go Vikings.
Okay.
And then the Bears game, the Rams really aren't anything special defensively or offensively, especially with Stafford back there. The Bears probably would have had about 4 or 5 sacks on Sunday, but with Anthony Richardson being mobile, he had a few times where he was able to slip out and he got a few yards or he'd get out of bounds before they'd get to him, where Stafford's not rolling out. Stafford's just going to be smart enough to throw the ball away or scramble and find a guy, but I think they may be able to get Stafford pretty easily, and like we said, the weather is going to be nice enough, so it should be a good day for football. So I'm going to take the Bears too, as it is a must-win.
Okay. So that's what else do we have here? Anything else, real quick, you want to get over?
Do you want me to read through the injured people? Just go through it real quick.
I'll keep that. Keep it for the Benchwarmer
podcast.
Yeah, Benchwarmer podcast. Which, remember, we have the Basement Benchwarmer podcast as well. That gets released on Tuesdays. So Tuesdays and usually on Monday nights, you can check us out. This will be after Mondays because the Bears podcast, the 46 Zone, comes out on Thursdays. But usually Tuesdays around 11 o'clock, you can check out the Basement Benchwarmers podcast and all your podcasting platforms. And don't forget, this is the 46 Zone podcast with Scott and Jason. We're hoping to start getting some guests on here as the year goes on. Hopefully we can start winning some games and get some excitement with the Bears. I think there's a little excitement still. I do want to talk about this. I think we forgot last week about Justin Fields. Justin Fields is having a very good year. He's having a good year on a good team. And I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. If you want Justin Fields over Caleb Williams, then become a Steeler fan. It's very simple. Go get a jersey, go get a Fields jersey, and go. He's going to disappoint you. That's what I'm going to tell you guys. When it starts going tough and it falls on his shoulders, they're going to lose games. So far in this situation, nothing has fallen on his shoulders. He's not turned the ball over, which is one thing he did a lot in Chicago, so that's a plus, but he's also not putting in situations where he has to do that. His line is better there, so things are better. And if you think the Bears failed him, that is fine. The Bears failed him. But Caleb Williams yesterday with no offensive line and a rookie receiver and Cole Kmet, because DJ Moore was not really involved. He was a little involved. Put up 363 yards and 2 touchdowns and on the road in a game where he had to make plays to try to come back and help his team. Okay? Justin Fields is not that guy. He had a handful of games, but if he doesn't run for 80 or 90 yards for the Bears, he's not doing that. So Is he having a good year? Yes. Do I hope he has a great year? I do. I think Justin Fields is a good kid. I hope everything goes his way. I hope the Bears and Fields meet in the Super Bowl. That'd be awesome. But the thing is, I do not think he can win anything more if he doesn't have what he has around him now. And if you think the Bears failed him by not building a team around him like that, you don't draft a quarterback number in the first round to have him just run the ball and throw 12, 14 times a game. That's how you do. You don't do that. You draft a quarterback in the first round to throw the ball and not 50 times, but rely on him when you have to. I will change my tune if he wins 3 or 4 games when it gets tough, when they play the Ravens type defenses, when they got to play the Ravens twice still. They still got to play. And look at what they played so far. They played 3 defenses that who were their first 3 games, Pittsburgh?
I can't remember. I know they played the Chargers on Sunday. That was their hardest game of the year.
Yeah, that was their toughest so far. You are correct. Yeah, they had their first game was all field goals when they beat Atlanta. Remember, that is a team with Kirk Cousins who is new to the team, and if you hate Kirk, if you're not a Kirk Cousins guy, well, there's your excuse then to say, well, Justin Fields got to play Kirk Cousins, so that's his first game, so he should have won it. And the second game of the year, I cannot remember who they played. We're checking it right now, but the Steelers. I don't think they played a division opponent yet.
No, there are no division games there yet. The Steelers played in week 2 the Broncos 13-6.
Okay, so a Broncos team who before yesterday was inept in all parts of the game, they beat 13-6. And Bo Nix threw a pick in the end zone in that game.
Yes, a pick in the end zone, no touchdowns.
So if you're okay with 13 points, I think their first game was all field goals and 18 points, and then last game they scored on 20. So if you're okay with that, those would all been losses for the Bears, just so you know. All 3 of those games, they would have lost all 3 of those games. Put up with those points, just so you know that. So he's not putting up 28 points on offense a game. This isn't what's happening. So please stop comparing them. Not the same guy, and please stop saying that he didn't get the same treatment that Caleb Williams has, okay? The line was better last year. They had Montgomery when he got there. They had a decent running game last year. They had Cole Kmet and DJ Moore were there last year. And they had Darnell Mooney, who's doing pretty well in Atlanta right now. Because he left Chicago because he didn't want to be around that anymore. He didn't know what was happening. He was out. That's why he left and took the money and went somewhere else. So remember, Darnell Mooney, who's the second best receiver in Atlanta right now, and DJ Moore and Cole Kmet were all here. Okay?
I think
Keenan Allen has only played 1 game so far with Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. They all can't get the ball anyway. And Rome had his best game last game. So
that receiving core that Fields has in Chicago is better than it is in Pittsburgh right now.
Oh, I agree 100%. That's why it makes me laugh. But his line's better, and he's better defense on the other side.
I think too.
The Bears' defense was never that good when he was there. Although they were good the last 8 games last year, and when they went to Green Bay last year with a chance to take. Okay, let's put it this way: went to Green Bay last year. The Bears team had went 6-2 down the stretch or something like that, and so they won games. Went into Green Bay, a chance to knock the Packers out of the playoffs, I think. Oh, yeah, knocked them out of the playoffs. And what does Caleb Williams do? I mean, Justin Fields do? Like a giant goose egg in Lambeau, once again, as a Bears quarterback. That's why he had to go. That was a final straw for me. You cannot keep laying goose eggs in Green Bay like every quarterback has done. That's just not for me anymore. If you're okay with them beating the Atlantas of the world in Christmas Day last year or whoever else they beat Detroit. Great. Awesome. Great game. But you know what? That defense was on fire last year, and the Bears' defense only allowed, guess what, last year in Green Bay, fellas? 17 points. And they lost that game in Green Bay 17-9. We couldn't even get a touchdown last year in Green Bay. So if you want Caleb Williams back, buy your Steelers jersey, grab that number 2. I think he wears 2 there.
Yep.
Grab that number 2. And I like Justin Fields, but to keep saying this comparison is outrageous to me. It's nuts and crazy. And you keep coming back to me, you don't have the same talent. Okay, that's fine. That's your argument. It's like, whatever, but I'm not going with that.
This was come out today too. Mike Tomlin did say in the press conference that there's no need to name Justin Fields the starting quarterback. So I mean, you look at that one bad game and he's gone.
Yeah,
you got Russell Wilson sitting there. He's the emergency quarterback with his eye black on and his jersey on every week. So inactive or not, he's ready to take his job. So. Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm done with the conversations with that. I think it's incredible, and I wish him the best of luck. But I'm going to mark my word. If there's any games he has to come back in, they will not win those games unless he uses his feet. But he's made a couple nice throws and all that. I saw 4 throws yesterday in the game. Caleb Williams threw those 4 throws. I didn't see a one throw I didn't see 4 throws in a game ever last year, maybe in a 4-game stretch that he made yesterday in that game. I'm telling you right now, I'm not being a homer. It's just looking and seeing what he can do. He's going to do it every week? Who knows? Maybe he'll make another throw like that the rest of your Caleb Williams. Maybe he'll throw 10 more interceptions in the next 3 games. No idea. But right now, what I see, the eye test is all I need. That's all I need is the eye test. That is all I need, and I got what I need. Caleb Williams is the starting quarterback of this team, and if you don't like it, buy a Steelers jersey. Go buy a Packer jersey. Go cheer for somebody else if you think it's great. Go, because it is what it is. I'm not going to switch teams or start. The biggest mistake the Bears ever made is not getting rid of Justin Fields. There's many other made. So let's pump the brakes and let's see how the season ends for both teams and how it comes out.
Well, here's your eye test this week. Steelers go into Indianapolis to play the Colts.
Oh, okay.
So let's see how they turn it around against the team that the Bears just played. So, and I mean, yet again, tell me if they score less than 20 points and win the game, congrats. But
yeah,
if he's playing for the Bears,
they haven't scored over 20 yet. Then yet?
No, they haven't broke 20 yet. So,
and have the Bears though?
Yep, opening day.
I thought it was they scored over 20.
Yeah, 24 on opening day. Winner.
Oh, they did. Yeah, but that was all defense. Can't give Caleb Williams any credit for that. A couple of field goals, but they had the defensive score in that game, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I can't give him all the credit. Can't give him any of that.
Yeah, then 13 against
13
Texans,
and
16 against
so,
Colts.
So comparison right now is what it is. So anything else, Jace, for this week's show?
I will give the man a shout out. Bears ex-defensive coordinator Chuck Pagano went to Italian Fest in Lake Geneva, and he won the Paisano Award for the most Italian man.
Nice.
So Chuck Pagano, Italian Man of the Year at Lake Geneva's Italian Fest.
Good for Chuck.
So, yeah, nothing else. Anything else for you?
No, that's all I got. So we'll be back next week after hopefully talking about Bears victory at home versus the Rams. Kickoff is noon on Sunday.
And we will be there.
Yes, we will be there. And it's on Fox, so make sure you tune in. And let's get a Bear victory. And thanks for listening to the 46 Zone Podcast. Once again, don't forget to check out the Basement Benchwarmers Podcast. Both available on all your podcast platforms. And bear down and have a good week.